Hello everyone, yes, you read that correctly. I am saying goodbye to my Urban Decay Electric palette. This is something I said that I would never, ever, ever, ever do. And, well, I guess never has arrived because I have made the decision to declutter this palette, and it was actually a very easy decision. I apologize for the sound of my voice. Sorry for so many apologies. I'm so Canadian. I do have a little bit of a cold, which I'm really trying to get over because I have very exciting travel plans coming, and I need to not be sick for that. But anyway, I was gonna do just a really incredibly dramatic goodbye video, and there's gonna be a little bit of that in here because it's not an Elle video if it's not a little bit dramatic and over the top and somewhat ridiculous. I just love it, so just be warned. I really loved this palette quite a bit for quite a long time. This is a palette that's approaching, I want to say 7 years old. I believe if I didn't get it in 2012, it had to have been 2013. So it's getting up there in age. And as time went on and the quality of the shadows decreased because it was old, and I was discovering new shadows and using other colorful things, I just never reached for this palette anymore. But this was my first big colorful palette where I really dipped my toes into the colorful shadows and had so much fun playing with it. I still remember, you know, using shades like Urban and Savage, the purple and the pink together, and I remember people complimenting me on my eyeshadow in public for like the first time ever, feeling so cool. I loved using this green shade Freak, like a mermaid look with like fringe and freak and maybe even thrash, like blue, greens, sometimes some chaos. People always said it was kind of mermaidy, so that's why I go to it. And just playing around with the colors. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of usage on this palette because I didn't end up using it that often. It wasn't something that I reached for all of the time. It was a palette for like special occasions and just when I was feeling more creative and like I wanted to do a whole bunch of crazy colorful things. And then I just started doing that with other shadows. So like, I'm not even using this palette on my face today. I decided just, you know, I wanted to say goodbye. I am wearing colorful shadows because how could I say goodbye to this palette without? I use the Viseart Editorial Brights because that palette, as well as the bunch of single shadows I got from Colored Rain, the Vivid Pigments collection, when that came out, those two things have really replaced all other colorful shadows. And I really didn't have a whole lot anyway, but those are the things that I reach for constantly whenever I'm doing colorful looks. This palette, I have some good memories, some not so good memories. It's mixed emotions at this point, and when I thought about decluttering it, I really didn't feel bad about it. I was picking stuff out to declutter just to get rid of, and a lot of the stuff I was letting go of was stuff that I said I wasn't gonna let go of, or stuff that I was trying to force myself to use up, or just to keep for whatever reason, and letting go feels so much better. So I kind of wanted to pass that message on as well, because I know there's a lot of people who are very similar to me, who are kind of on this no-buy journey, like makeup rehab, all that stuff, and a lot of people who hang on to stuff for sentimental value, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you're keeping a whole bunch of stuff, and it does start to lose its meaning, or maybe the meaning changes, and maybe it's okay to let it go. Maybe it's okay to film a silly video, take some photos, do something ridiculous with the item, or not, and just get rid of it. And I don't want to sound too preachy or anything, so, you know, I'm not telling you what to do. If you have this palette, if you still use it and it works for you and it's not causing you any irritation and you find the quality great, no judgment on my end. Just understand that. I'm not telling you to get rid of stuff that you love having, stuff that you love looking at, picking up. And, you know, I do still very much have those things that mean a lot to me, but maybe there's things, maybe not even makeup related. Maybe there's other things you have sitting in your closet that you think, someday maybe I'll get back to that. Someday maybe I'll revisit that. Maybe you won't. Maybe it's causing you anxiety actually. Maybe you have too much clutter. Maybe. Again, I'm not saying you do, I'm not saying I do, but I definitely have. And I'm learning to let go of these things and just appreciate things more and appreciate the memories, because that I will have forever. I have those videos on my channel. If I feel like revisiting them, I can see the different looks I did with this palette. I can see palette bingos and whatever other adventures this palette took me on and how I've grown from it. I feel like I have developed, grown, learned my lessons from this palette, if you will, and for that I'm grateful. So I feel like I don't need to have the physical thing anymore because I'm not getting anything else out of it. I have gotten all that I can possibly get from this palette, and I don't actually have to have the physical thing with me anymore. So that's a very freeing feeling. I'm really glad to have gotten to that place, and it doesn't feel bad to say goodbye, but I just felt like it would be a little disrespectful to not do a formal goodbye. I posted about it on Twitter and on Instagram as well, but I know that only a small fraction of people who have followed sort of my makeup journey follow me on those platforms, so I wanted to bring it to YouTube as well, just because I thought that it would be a fun way to say goodbye to this palette that has really been with me for the duration of my channel and that you guys have seen me use and talk about so frequently in so many different types of videos. You've seen me use it, you've seen me talk about how inspiring it is, you've seen it in like list videos and collaboration videos, all sorts of things this palette has made an appearance in. So it just felt like something I needed to do to say goodbye. So on the decluttering note, because I have had quite a few people ask me, I'm not filming my declutters, I'm just decluttering as the mood strikes me, and I feel like I do too much justification and I keep way too much stuff, or feel like I need to get rid of things that I don't want to get rid of if I film them. It might sound a little bit weird, but I don't have a huge makeup collection compared to some people who do declutters, as in the big YouTubers who get sent a lot of PR, so they constantly have massive collections, and then they have a little bit of a different relationship with the stuff because I didn't buy a lot of it. It's a different thing, and I'm just trying to do what works for me, kind of taking those few steps back from the YouTube stuff and being able to make some decisions on my own. It sounds very strange, but there's definitely a lot of like pull, and sometimes I feel like I'd be listening to people in the comments who would say, like, keep this, don't get rid of this, and people who were judging me for getting rid of something they liked or pressuring me to get rid of something that I loved. So just decluttering in general works better. I'm not going to take any pressure from anybody who's telling me to keep this. I'm not keeping it. I'm not depotting the shadows, keeping the packaging. I don't need to do that. Realistically, I'm never going to use it. Even if I was going to try and like convert this into some sort of travel palette for my own use for single shadows. How many times have we said that, and I can't think of one person who's actually really done that. Now I'm sure there are people who have, but on the top of my head I can't think of anybody who's actually like fully converted palette and then used it for single shadows and continued to use it that way. I just don't see myself doing that, so it doesn't make sense just to keep it, and I'm not going to keep it just because, just in case. That's what I'm trying to get rid of. That's what I'm trying to get out of, is the just in case. Maybe someday I'd change my mind. Maybe someday I'd miss the palette. You know what? If I did someday decide that I really missed this palette, I'm sure somebody would be selling one somewhere. I can just get the empty palette and do with what I will, but I really just don't, I don't see that happening. I really don't. So I feel very comfortable and confident to say goodbye to this palette, and I'm very thankful for all I've learned and all that I've been able to play with it. I've done so many different colorful looks, and I feel like I've improved. Now I haven't practiced in a long time, and this is very sloppily thrown on justification, but I do feel like in general, like when I was practicing a lot, I was improving a lot compared to how my makeup looked when I first started my channel, and I think a lot of that had to do with this palette, because this was how I was first playing with more dramatic, colorful things, because this was the sole thing that I had. So a lot of fond memories in that regard, and you know, just how I had wanted so badly to improve my makeup skills, how I wanted so badly to be better at it. You know, I was writing in journals and like goal lists. One of my things was to be better at makeup, and I practiced so much to get to a better spot where I felt more comfortable and confident with the way that my makeup looked. And I'm very thankful for the Urban Decay Electric palette, and maybe someday Urban Decay will bring it back, and then maybe someday I'd buy a brand new Electric 2 palette or whatever, Electric revamped. I'm sure like they're probably going to do something at some time, and I would maybe revisit it then, or maybe not. I don't want to commit myself one way or another, because that's what I feel bad now. There's going to be somebody who's going to come back and be like, you said you would never get rid of this. You said that you would keep this forever. And at that time, I truly did believe that. At the time, in the mental state that I was in, the place that I was in, I truly believed that I would be holding on to all of those things, because that's what I felt like I had and what I felt like I needed to feel safe. And I feel safe without all the stuff. So it's pretty nice. It's a nice feeling to not have to feel reliant on things. Crazy. This just took a really weird turn. Very dramatic turn, but it's true. It's one of those like life lesson things, and I feel like I'm constantly growing, and I've learned so much over the last year alone about myself, but just specifically related to this, about my makeup preferences, the way I use makeup usage, just all those things that were impacting me in my life. I've learned so much about, and I'm very, very grateful for all of that. And this has been a very eye-opening year for sure. And I have a lot more to talk about in future videos when I talk about my no-buy year and how that has been and how that will look like going forward. I'm excited to do all those end of the year wrap-ups. It's not even close to the end of the year, I know that. I know it's September, but I did kind of start my no-buy in October-ish, officially in November. But anyway, this video is all over the place. The main point of this was to say goodbye to the electric palette officially. So I know this is a struggle, but if we can all keep it together for the palette's sake, because it's moving on to a better life, not confined to a little plastic container. It is going to the makeup collection in the sky, or maybe a farm. Is that what would you believe that? If I say like it went to a farm to live with some nice people, that's where this palette is going. Okay, maybe that's what some of you might need to believe. I'm giving this palette to some nice people who are letting it go roam free on a farm. Free range palettes. We got this. So if you feel like decluttering along with me, if there's something you've been holding on to that you just felt like you weren't quite ready to let go of yet, maybe go back and revisit it. Maybe see if the time is now. And if the time is not now, that is totally okay. Just keep it in mind for the future. Go back and revisit those items, those sentimental favorite things, especially when it comes to something like makeup, and just see if the feeling remains. And if you don't make any spur of the moment decisions. You know, I've definitely been hanging on to this palette for years before I decided to get rid of it. This palette has seen some things and some stuff, but I do really feel like it's time. So anyway, let me know if you do decide to declutter anything. Let me know if you still have your electric palette, or if you got rid of yours a long time ago, or your thoughts on this palette in general, or what your favorite colorful shadows are. I'm not in the market for any, but I always love to have a good conversation about makeup, and I would love to chat with you. So thank you so much for hanging out with me and for joining me in saying goodbye to this beautiful palette. If you would like to memorialize it in any way, please feel free to leave your comments down below. Please be respectful. Just, you know, be respectful of the palette formerly known as electric, because it's a beautiful thing. All right, that's enough ridiculous for one day. Thank you once again for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, etc. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can, and I hope I will see you very soon. Bye for now.